But he said if there was something that you could put in a pill for a perfect supplement, it would be 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So it's that important.
Yeah.
Alright guys, welcome back to the CrossFit Ridderkerk de Podcast. I'm joined with Mark today again. Second part we're recording. And today is a good one. We're gonna talk about what we're gonna call a 100-point recovery system. You've already worked with it.
Yeah.
We're gonna implement it into the gym because we think it's something that's gonna help anyone who uses it. After we've talked about the 100-point recovery system, we're going to have a little bit of an agenda thing with events that are going to come up in September for the box. So if you want to stick around and listen to that, it's going to be at the end. But we're going to start with the 100-point recovery system and why we're going to implement it, what it is, etc. You want to kick it off?
Yeah, so the 100-point recovery system, something that I'm familiar with using. I used it as a college strength and conditioning coach.
Yep.
What I was finding, and ties into a little bit why we're bringing it into the gym, is I was finding that athletes were working hard in their workouts. So they had mandatory workouts. They'd come in, whatever, basketball, volleyball, whatever. They do their workouts, but then weren't adhering to recovery protocols, right? So they're aware of them. They know that it's good to go for a walk, ride a bike, use a foam roller, stretch on a lacrosse ball, whatever. They know those things are good to do, but they weren't adhering to them. Mm-hmm. And so the 100-point recovery system was created, I believe it was either 2010 or 2014 for the Olympics. And I believe actually it was created for an archery team.
Okay.
Initially. It's been adapted from that original creation, and the creator's name is Bird, who did the research on this. And what he came up with is essentially different modalities so that athletes could engage in recovery. Mm-hmm. And then he attributed points values to those based on their value from a recovery perspective, and then tied it into the ability for the athlete to adhere to that piece of recovery, right? So maybe we have, just as an example, if we had something like compression gear, right? So wearing compression gear post-athletics is good, but my athletes at the time didn't have access to it. Most of our athletes at the box probably don't have access to it. Yep. So then how do we make it realistic, right? Yep. And that's what we did. But getting to the why behind this is understanding that training is good. Obviously, I mean, training is great. Yep. But when, like today, our workout has deadlifts in it. And while we're doing the deadlifts is not actually when we get stronger per se. Yep. Yes, we're stressing the muscles during that time, but when the strength is actually built is during the recovery. So it's really important to partner the recovery with our training. Yep. So if you want to get stronger, faster, be able to run for longer distances, the recovery is really important in being able to do that. Yep. So how we implemented this as a college was we took this 100-point recovery model and we said, what do we have available that the athletes can participate in a meaningful way? Because what it essentially does is gives a quantifiable value to a recovery modality. So we say, if you go to sleep, you get 30 points. If you, I should be more clear, because I think what is our sleep? I think our sleep is 40 points. Yeah. But if you have proper nutrition post-workout, you get X number of points. Yep. If you do ride the bike or go for a walk, like I know a lot of times the members from our class will go for a walk around the parking lot. Yep. If you do that in a meaningful way afterwards, then you get points of values for that. Yep. So it's giving you a quantifiable way to track your recovery. So yep. I know that we have things like Whoop and some other options out there for tracking sleep and tracking activity. This is a way that we can track recovery. Yeah. So
and I think it's a really great way to I use this term very loosely, but gamify recovery.
Absolutely.
Basically. And it's something that happens in a lot of different ways, but gamifying something or appointing points to something is a great way for people to understand how important stuff is. As a gym owner, I realized, and it's hard to actually do something about it, realized that indeed training goes really well. I think at the gym, coaches are great, athletes listen to what the coaches have to say. So training is doing a really good job at the gym, but recovery and stuff is kind of in the background. And it has different reasons. For example, at the gym, I realized that most people come here to work out, and having a cool down, a stretch routine after every class is going to cut down the time that you're actually training, which isn't a bad thing. But if we're going to do that every class, I realized that athletes don't necessarily want that always. So this is a really good way to go about recovery after classes and in people's own time, which is going to add a lot of positive results into your training and stuff. And something that I really like about the 100-point recovery system is that it's going to affect the things that you do outside of the gym. And one of the things that I always want to explain to people is the fitness that you gain, the level of health that you're going to gain is an accumulation of everything that you do throughout your life, basically, and not just at the gym. So that's why I think this recovery system is going to be really great.
It's why I started including golf and Beyond the Whiteboard.
I like it. Okay, so that's basically what it is. Now, to make it more specific, we're gonna start using the point system in September, and we've divided it in two separate systems. A basic recovery system and a more advanced recovery system. Both can be used throughout the month of September, but the advanced system is going to be introduced a little bit later. We're going to go into detail about dates and stuff later, but we're going to start with just the basic recovery system. And the reason for that is we want people to start using it. And the basic system is, as the name suggests, basic, so it's really easy. Do you want to go into the points for the basic system?
So we did this to get it in line with the gym as much as possible, to make it as user-friendly and as accessible for everybody within our specific gym. If you were to go online and look up the 100-point recovery model, you're not going to see the same point value, and we're aware of that. We understand the research. We've done this specifically to try to modify it for our box and for those people at our gym. So within the basic recovery system that we've created, we have 30 points for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We have 30 points for 2 to 3 liters of hydration. I mean, post-workout would be good, but if you get it throughout the day, that's fine. 20 points post-workout for protein, and then 20 points for dedicated active recovery. And that was something that we specifically talked about, in that, yes, it's good that you finish the WOD and go for like a lap around the parking lot, or maybe 2 laps. It's going to take you 10 minutes or something, and that's good. We don't want to deter people from doing that. We want to encourage that. But we'd like to have you try to stretch that out a little bit further and go for a 30-minute intentional walk. Maybe that's around your neighborhood, maybe that's in the Chorza, but being intentional about those 30 minutes. And then we've also have, for that dedicated active recovery, 15 minutes of stretching. So maybe you finish the WOD on the bigger part of the main area where we do CrossFit. You could come on over to the other side and do some stretching in here. And then 15 minutes of self-massage. So that could be with a foam roller, that could be with a lacrosse ball, it could be with a percussion gun. There's barbells, there's lots of different things that are available. I'll just mention on that note, if you have questions, feel free to ask us about that.
Yep.
If you're looking for a resource for that, Kelly Starrett's book, The Supple Leopard, is a really good book for both the stretching and the self-massage portion of it.
Yeah. Thing to note too is all of the things that we're discussing in the podcast, we're going to also put in an email. It's going to come out in the end of August. I'm going to put the exact dates a little bit later in the podcast. But in that email, we're probably also going to include like some videos towards like active recovery stretching or lacrosse ball massaging or whatever, to make it as easy as possible for you guys to use it.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's good to go into why we've given certain things certain points. So for example, the 7 to 9 hours of sleep, we all know that sleep is really important in recovery. So we made that 30 points. It's funny, I think Matt Fraser was one of the of course, the one of the biggest CrossFit Games athletes ever. He said in a video, I don't know exactly which video it is, but he said if there was something that you could put in a pill for a perfect supplement, it would be 7 to 9 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So it's that important.
Yeah.
And that's why we've pointed 30 points to a total of 100 to sleep.
Yep.
The hydration is a really big part.
Yeah.
I think that is something that a lot of people kind of like
take
negate.
For granted.
Yeah, when they're looking into nutrition and stuff, it's mostly about, okay, what are you eating in a day? But we as humans are mostly water, which is a very like generic thing to say, but getting enough hydration is just as, if not more important than what you're eating in a day.
Yeah.
And then, of course, like the post-WOD protein is a very easy thing for us to accumulate points to. Like, okay, you did your training. Protein, if you look at nutrition, is a really big part, especially for people who are trained. So that's why we've been like, okay, if you do something to get more protein in your body after your workout, you get 20 points. And then the active recovery, really important. Training is really important, but like stretching and massaging and making sure that your body and your muscles don't get overtrained. This is a really, really important part, I guess.
And so the way it's structured too is as we're presenting this to you, we're presenting this to you and again, allowing you to make decisions on this. So if you're wanting to do 100 points worth of recovery between every workout, that is something that you could choose to do. If you wanted to do 100 points per week, that's something that you could do.
Yep.
So this is just like everything else that we do here at the box, and that you're able to scale this. So even with the difference between the basic and the advanced, you can still scale the basic to meet where you are at as an athlete. And so you say, hey, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to get 100 points per day. Great. Maybe you're getting 60. That's great. It's a starting point with a goal of maybe doing 100 throughout the whole week, right? So
exactly. Really easy basic recovery system. We've made it as easy as it can be, almost. So you guys just start being more conscious about recovery. The basic recovery system is going to be available starting the 1st of September. And then starting the 9th of September, so 8 days later, we're going to introduce the advanced recovery system. We did that very deliberately, so you guys start with the easiest stuff in the recovery model, and then the advanced recovery model is it touches the same basis, but the points are divided differently, and more the subjects are more precise in how you're gonna achieve those points. So in general, the advanced recovery point system is gonna be, you're gonna get 40 points to sleep, 40 points to nutrition, and then 20 points to cool down, stretching, and stuff like that. Starting with sleep, so you get 40 points of sleep. In the basic recovery system, it's 30 points, but those 40 points are divided in 4 different subjects into sleep. So the most important thing in sleep is that you get those 7 to 9 hours a night. So you get 20 points for just sleeping those 7 to 9 hours a day. When do you go for 7? When do you go for 9? That's mostly up to you. And in the email we're going to send out at the 30th of August, we're going to go a little more into detail as to why you would pick whatever hours you can pick for yourself. So more of like the scientifically, like this is why you go for this. So 20 points for the 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Then 10 of the 40 points are going to go into a regular sleep cycle, or a regular sleep cycle, where we know it's important to have a regular sleep cycle. And a regular sleep cycle would be, say I go to sleep at 10 every night, and I set an alarm for, just a general example, 7 in the morning. You want to keep those two times as close to each other as possible. So as soon as you go to sleep at 11, you're like an hour off your regular sleep cycle. Or as soon as you wake up at 6 instead of 7, you're an hour off your regular sleep cycle. And
so is somebody going to contact my little boy and tell him that he needs to get on the sleep cycle as well?
I guess so. Just ignore him and stay asleep. So what we've done is you get 10 points if you stay inside of 30 minutes of your regular sleep cycle. So for example, same example as we used before, if you go to sleep at 10, you go to sleep at 21:30, that's fine. If you go to sleep at 22:30, that's still in between like 30 minutes of your regular sleep cycle. Same with waking up. So waking up at 6:30 or 7:30 in the same example we just used is still going to get you those 10 points. Obviously, this is going to be very different per person. There's people who have regular cycles with their job. There's people who have shifts at their job. So this is not going to be attainable for everybody the same. But that's also not the objective of the recovery point system. The objective of the recovery point system is for every single individual person itself to see how many points they can get for themselves. So don't compare yourself to someone else and they can get at the 10 points every night because they have a regular schedule at work. It's going to be different per person, and obviously we understand that. Then there's 10 points left in the sleep category. 5 points to 1 hour of REM sleep, and 5 points of 1 hour of deep sleep. We've deliberately made those the least important parts because you don't really have a lot of control over them. There's some things that you can do to get into a deeper sleep or more of a REM sleep, but it's also like the least important part of sleeping. Plus, to measure this, you need like Whoop or a Garmin or something that registers your sleep. So if you have that, that's some bonus points that you can accumulate. If you don't have that, that's also perfectly fine. Same for to address like the personal thing of the recovery point system. Say you don't have a Whoop or a Garmin or whatever, there's a couple of things you can do. Either you're going to say to yourself, okay, if I get the 7 to 9 hours of sleep and I get the regular sleep cycle, I'm just going to give myself those 40 points, which is fine because it's your personal recovery point system.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, if you're going to be like, hey, I want to use it as literal as it can get, you could also make the decision to be like, okay, then I don't get those full 40 points, but I get the 30 points. But it's completely up to you how you use it. You want to go into nutrition?
So the nutrition, also 40 points, and this was done on purpose. Just like the above, we wanted to make the sleep and the recovery both have a similar value because they're both really, really important. So 40 points for the nutrition. 10 points for 1.2 to 2 grams per kilogram for proteins for body.
Per kilo body weight.
Per kilo of body weight is what you're looking for when you're doing that. 10 points for 2 to 3 liters of hydration. So if we look up at the basic recovery, it's the same thing, that 2 to 3 liters of hydration. 5 points for a pre-WOD meal. So making sure that you're coming in and you've had something in your system and you're not going to end up lightheaded and passing out on us in the workout. I've only had that happen a very few times in my life as a coach. So I think most people are pretty good with eating. And then 5 points for post-WOD meal. So that's how we're breaking down the biggest portion of what those 40 points look like. Now, if we want to we're going to get into a little bit more details in articulating the 40 points for nutrition. We're also going to give 3 points for healthy fats, which is 1 gram per kilo of body weight. 3 points for vegetables. We have 300 grams for that. And then 2 points for fruit, and it's a pretty easy one. 2 points for fruit. It means eating 2 pieces of fruit. Yep. And then 2 points of fiber, which is 20 to 30 grams of fiber. So if you're the type of person who's interested in those things, we do have those details. And again, we'll share those in an email with you guys to be more specific about that if you want to get into the details of what that nutrition piece is all about. Yep. And measuring. I mean, and there is a lot of CrossFit athletes that have done this. This would line up with something well, like with the zone diet, for example. This would partner really well with, along with those lines there. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and with nutrition, same thing as with sleep. We've looked at what are the most important parts in nutrition. Accumulate over. Given those the biggest amount of points, and then looking into what's a little bit less important and giving those things a little bit less points. And everything that we've done is based on what we know is important in nutrition. So we know that getting enough protein, especially for people who exercise, is important. Same with hydration, pre-post workout meals, etc. And it's not to say that the vegetables, the fruits, the fibers, the healthy fats are that less important, but it's just we want to get the basics right before people get into like the nitty gritty and the smaller details that are important in nutrition. And again, same with the sleep, look at those points and see what's important to you. So if it's hard, or if you don't want to, there's people who don't want to like measure their food and stuff, or don't want to look into the food and the exact grams and stuff, which is understandable. So look at the nutrition portion and look at what you want to use in the nutrition.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so then the last 20 points. So sleep is 40, nutrition is 40, and then we have 20 points left. It's going to be in cool down and stretching. We've divided that into 3 points, basically 3 different aspects. Slow cardio / walking, then stretching, and then self-massaging, basically. All of those 3 things are gonna get 10 points, which if you have 3 things and you get 10 points, that's 30, so that's too much because you can only get 20 points in recovery.
But if you want to do all 3 and get 30,
it's perfect.
You don't get credit for the extra 10.
Exactly. And we've done this, so you pick like 2 of those cool down and modalities, and then you can get those 20 points. So you can either go for a 30-minute dedicated walk and get 10 points, and then do some stretching or some mobility, and then you accumulate the complete 20 points. And I say deliberately walking those 30 minutes because I don't want people to be like, okay, I've gotten off my chair, I've walked into the bathroom, and that's probably like 30 seconds, and I've walked from my car to the front door, and that's probably like a minute, and accumulated throughout the day, I've definitely walked in 30 minutes. No, it's a dedicated 30-minute walk, apart from what you do in normal life. So those are the 2 recovery systems. Again, the basic recovery system is gonna start at the 1st of September and end at the end of September. It's 30th, right? It doesn't have the 31. So the 30th of September, and the advanced recovery system is gonna start at the 9th of September and end at the 30th of September. Again, the basic, you can just use all month. So if you want to keep it very simple, the whole month, just use the basic system. You don't have to use the advanced system. Even if it comes available, they're still both going to be on there. And on there is beyond the whiteboard, but we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Pick either one. and use it however you feel is appropriate for yourself. So again, dates should be clear right now. The 30th of August, that's going to be on a Friday. We're going to send out an email with more details where we talk about, for example, let's say we're going to pick the pre-WOD meal. For now, it's 5 points, and then we're going to add some details in what we think would be like a decent pre-workout meal. Same thing for a post-workout meal. We're going to have some videos in there for the stretching, etc. Just some suggestions you can use. Again, same thing for the email goes. Pick what is important to you, use what's important to you, and you can go really deep into detail. I think the system we've created, you can go really deep and you can go really specific on how you're gonna go about it, or you keep it more general.
Yep.
Okay, cool. We talked about Beyond the Whiteboard.
Yeah. So how are we gonna log this?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna do our best to put this into Beyond the Whiteboard for you guys. We'll create the 2 different systems in Beyond the Whiteboard. The points essentially will be logged as reps. So that's what we're looking at right now is how you'll be logging each one of these. Is you'll be logging each one of them as reps. What we'll have to do for this as well is we're going to set this up as a separate WOD or a separate event. So when you go into Beyond the Whiteboard right now, just as an example, you're looking at today's workout, you can see that there's a warm-up, you can see that there's independence, you can see that there's freedom and liberty, and there's different options. You can also see that there's, on certain days like tomorrow, for example, there's also going to be a powerlifting class and a CrossFit class. So we're also going to create it in such a way that you will have to select this.
Yep.
It won't just automatically show up. You're going to have to select that this shows up in your Beyond the Whiteboard profile, and we'll put together a little video or something or explain how to do that for you guys. And then once that's selected, you will have the opportunity to fill in your points just as if you would fill them in for scoring on a workout.
Yep.
So if I scored my 30 points, maybe for the basic one, it could be easy as like, yes, I got it, and it's like a check. Log it, and then for something like the advanced one where we can actually look at the point values, and we're working through that, but we're going to get this on the Beyond the Whiteboard for you guys so that you will be able to record it. And again, it will be something that you could do daily if you want to. So it'll be an option for you there to show. It'll show up daily for you guys to track and record that. And again, this is something that we're not necessarily looking at as a coach and being like, I see that Joury is only getting 60 points of recovery every week. If you were getting 60 points of recovery every week, we're probably going to give you a high five and be like, sweet, great job, that's awesome. Because there's a lot of people that aren't even getting to that point yet. I think with implementing something like this, we're going to get people further along in their health and their fitness journey, which is going to be exciting to see, and then also exciting to see how it transforms within their performance as well in the gym and in the workouts as well. So, but you want to add anything about Beyond the Whiteboard there?
No. I think, like you said, it's basically going to be a separate class where in the filter you can either add it into the list that you see or you don't add it. So that way, then when people don't want to use it, you don't necessarily have to see it. Of course, we're going to encourage everyone to use it as much as they want and possible, but so it's on underneath like a separate class basically.
And we're gonna try have some prizes for this.
Yep.
I know that worked really well for me, so I know we started this podcast off talking about how I use this as a college strength and conditioning coach. So that's what I did when I started this. I created a giant whiteboard. I had how many? I think I had about 300 athletes that I was responsible for when I was doing this as a college strength coach in different teams. And so I created all the teams on a big whiteboard. And at the end of each month, I would get them to submit how much recovery each team got, and I had to create a rubric, obviously, for calculating teams, because our curling team has 6 athletes, but our women's soccer team has 24 athletes. So how do you calculate which team got the most recovery? So I had to create a way to balance it out, and at the end of each month, I would give the team that had the most recovery a prize. They were just little things, but I really found a massive incentive adherence to the protocols, with people just being like, hey, I got a little prize from coach, or our team won the recovery this month. And so same thing, we're going to include some prizes for you guys on this. If you want to share a little bit more about that as well.
Like details about what prizes and stuff is going to be in the email. But you said you wanted to give away one of the...
Well, so not necessarily as a prize, but I will put this out there for you guys. If you're going through this, or you're listening to the podcast, or you're looking at this on Beyond the Whiteboard, or in the email, and you're having questions, you're like, hey, this sounds something like that's interesting for me, it's kind of cool, I'd like a little bit more information. I will offer this out to you guys. It's been a few years ago now, but I wrote a book called Preparing for Performance. It is available on Amazon. But for CrossFit Ridderkerk people only, I'd be willing to send a PDF copy of that book out for people. In there is one chapter on the 100-point recovery system. We also have some other chapters in there about tracking performance and different things like that. So if people are interested in that PDF or a copy of the book, I'll send them a PDF of that as well. No cost. I would just ask that if they were able to fill out a Amazon review for me, it'd be greatly appreciated. So if you're looking for more information about this, we can get that for you as well.
Yep.
So it's free. It's not a prize, but it's free. Yeah, Dutch people like free stuff.
Yeah, so. They do. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, cool. Okay, so look out look for the email that we're going to send out the 30th of August. There's going to be more details in there. And again, like we stated at the start of the podcast, I think it's going to be a really good addition for people who want to be a little bit more serious about recovery stuff and a bit of lifestyle stuff too.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so recovery point system out of the way. A couple of events that are coming up in September, a couple of really fun events, I think, coming up in September. The biggest one is going to be the 14th of September. We're going to have the Body Throwdown. Last year was the first edition. It was a really, really big success. We really loved it. I think all of the athletes loved it too. It doesn't matter if you're male, female team or whatever. If you want to sign up, you want to join the competition, sign up. Tom made a really great poster. It's hanging in the CrossFit zaal. So put your name on there. If you have a team, put both of your names on there. There could be, or you can decide on a team name even. If you want to join the competition but you don't have a team or a partner yet, there's a list where you can just put your own name on there, and then other people can fill on the same list, and then that way you can find some partners to.
And does it matter from scale or RX?
No. It's like we try to do with all of the competitions. Come in, do whatever you want to do, which level. We're always going to have multiple levels of every workout. So no, doesn't matter what level you are, just come and join the competition. If you're hesitant about competing, but you still want to be there because you think it's going to be a fun day, we're also looking for a couple of volunteers to judge, to start up the day, etc. So if you want to be there, but you don't want to compete, but you want to volunteer, sign up as a volunteer.
I would say a couple things. I hear if you're volunteering, you might get a sweet shirt.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe throw a teaser in there that we were talking about. There was a strongman event recently.
Yeah,
we might have some influence on our decision making towards one of the workouts we can do. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this the Buddy Throwdown and what it's going to look like. So definitely sign up. I participated last year. It was really fun. I would encourage you guys to sign up and participate in that as well.
Definitely, All right, and then the 22nd of September, so that's 8 days later, so that's going to be on a Sunday. We're going to have an Olympic weightlifting showdown just for our own members at the box. You've been to, you were at the other weightlifting showdown, right? In
the Rotterdam,
Yeah.
It's called the Rotterdam Showdown, but it was hosted in Barendrecht because of the weather.
Yeah. Really fun event. The way it's going to be set up is clean, jerk, and snatch. And if I'm saying this correctly, you're going to have X amount of time to just go and max out on your snatch, and then X amount of time to max out at your clean and jerk. It's going to be competition-ish like, but it's also going to be more of a class setup kind of thing. So it's basically just a fun class where you can come together, max out on some lifts, have some fun, throw around some PRs, ring the bell, have a good time. So
the showdown that the official Rotterdam showdown. They do 30 minutes for the snatch, and then you leave the platform, and you have 30 minutes to warm up your clean and jerk. And then during your 30 minutes that you're warming up, there's another group that's out doing their snatch, and then you just kind of flip-flop, and then you'll come out and you'll have 30 minutes to do your clean and jerk. And then they set up a giant bell, kind of like what happening at the Olympics with the champions bell in the track and field there, where you get to ring the bell.
Nice, yeah.
So where it's really community orientated. So if you're thinking like, oh man, I don't want to wear a singlet, I don't want to be like just singled out standing on a platform, that's not what this is.
Nope.
This is not a weightlifting competition from that perspective. Like Joury mentioned, this is a community event. This is our box. We're doing this to have fun, try to see if we can get some PRs, and really celebrate lifting within our community.
Yep. It's going to be fun. And then last event that we're having, or that we're not actually having, but a couple of people are having it, I guess. 29th of September, the Ridderkerk City Run. So it's going to be either 5K run or a 10K run. I know a bunch of members already signed up for the run. We started running classes a couple of weeks ago. Really fun. People were enjoying just getting together and running together. So there's going to be a poster in the, or more of a paper where you can sign your name on it, and then we know who's competing or who's running that day. It's going to be just for us to see who's running, but it can also be used to look for a buddy to run the event with if you want. So yeah, join the Ridderkerk City Run. It's going to be a fun one. I think it's the, I don't know, 2nd edition, I guess? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. They've had a couple of editions, or 1 or 2, I don't know. So that should be it for today, for the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. If you have any questions about the recovery system, about anything, just let us know. We're there to help. See you later.